Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things, and welcome to Winter is Coming Wednesday, episode 23. This week I have 2 handmade cards. I have in the works for next week, a revamp of some cards that I did as a collection of simple, casual to avid, and I did them in a class setting with a group in July, and I'm saving that for next week because we are packing to move this week, so I have to hold it to a short video. So I grabbed 2 cards that I have finished. They use DSP that I have not worked with yet this year and haven't presented, I don't believe, any cards that use them yet. So that's why I chose them. The first one uses the Sweet Stockings set. The Sweet Stockings has a bunch of patterned paper on one side, and on the other side it has animals, all sorts of fun animals. And I went ahead, as you can see, I have some different pieces that have cutouts because I chose animals. In fact, I chose 6 animals from these papers and cut them using fussy cutting and put them in little slots using the Picture This die sets that has a rectangle set of dies. I believe there's 3, and they're set up to be on an A2 size card, and then there's a set of circles. There are 6 different circles, and that's the one I picked. I've improved my fussy cutting in the last couple of years. My hands have been really good since I had a couple surgeries, so I did try to keep the fussy cutting somewhat simple and somewhat close to the smaller animals, the 5 smaller animals. And then for the focus cat, for 'Tis the Season, who is sad because his owner wants to dress him up as a reindeer, I left those a little less fussy cut. I used a very thin piece. It's the edge of the Evening Evergreen. It's left over from a project I worked on last summer. It was just sitting on my desk, and I thought, oh, that'll be really cute on this corgi because it's very delicate and he is small. And then I finished it off with dots, very tiny yellow ones. These are the decorative matte dots, and then green, 3 green ones. So the pattern side does have a variety of patterns, but I picked the 2 most muted ones to not fight with the animals. So this one is the one I picked, and then the background is actually a pool party, I believe. Pool party cross-hatching pattern that I liked because it kind of looked like a neutral background to go with this diagonal print. Somewhat Christmas colored, but yet very muted, and I think it came out really cute. I have a particular person in mind for this card. There are a few people that I know would appreciate, you know, any one of these, but the person I'm going to give it to is a corgi person. So this was made especially for her. And then the next one uses another new paper that I have in my stash. I actually did a share, both the Sweet Stockings and the Gingerbread and Peppermint papers I shared with Libby, and I chose to use, there's a variety of colors and patterns that you can cut. I believe Libby has the dies. So Libby has the dies, and I was at her house, so I got to cut some dies. The dies do coordinate with the actual images, so you can cut them out, which is very nice. And then I mixed the craft with one element. Then when I later went to make my card, I used cinnamon cider. So those 2 colors go together very nicely. And you can see the other side here. And I chose a pattern side, which actually I'm not, here it is. I chose to use, this is what's left, to use this pattern and then to replicate these little black dots. I went ahead and after I die cut, which I will show you, I tried to replicate that using some black splatter stamps. So this is my card. It's pretty simple. not a really overly elaborate one, and I did take the pattern paper and I ran it through the bark embossing folder. I then, as I said, if you can see up close, there's little speckles of black on the very edges of this cut gingerbread cookie, which is cut on craft, but look how close the craft and cinnamon cider are. They're very close, so they can be mixed nicely together. There's also this Stitched with Whimsy, which I want to talk about. This year, I have noticed in the annual catalog there are a few die sets that actually die cut into the paper, but don't necessarily cut the paper out. This is one of them. It's called Stitched with Whimsy, and it's a nested set, so there's like 5 dies, 5 different sizes, and you can cut, but it doesn't cut the outside. This just acts as like a border, and I could trim it down. If I had wanted a thin mat of white, I could have just trimmed right close to the stitching if I had wanted to, and I believe that I've seen a bunch of different, like the snowflakes, stitched snowflakes has a stitched element. The stitched leaves has a stitched element that is just vertical stitching, like falling leaves, but they're just vertical lines stitched. So there's quite a few stamp or die sets right now that are using the idea of stitchery or dashing that just goes right onto the cardstock wherever you want it. And I'm really liking what I see with that, and I will be doing more projects with those as time goes on. And then I finished this off with the white organdy glitter, and then the gems that there's white and like an opal colored one, and they have a white shimmer, somewhat like a very delicate shimmer, but they also have a very delicate cut, like a rose cut, along the top of them. And they're like the elegant gems. And then I die cut with white. I used basic white for all my white pieces, and then did a heat emboss. This is from the Poinsettia Petals set. And I put that right over the bow, and it is done. So that concludes the 2 projects for episode 23. I want to thank everybody. I am very excited to have hit 3,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate all of the shares that you guys have been doing of the videos. I see my subscriber count going way up every month, and I want to request that that be continued so that I can continue to provide more and more fun videos. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, questions, or suggestions here on the video or over on my blog. And thanks for watching.